another episode of Tickets to History is upon us. Today, we're going to take a look at the top 10 debut game ticket stubs from my personal collection that took place during New York Giant games. I tried to get as many highlights from these games as I could, but some of them are tricky because they're older games, so in that case, we're going to go with some career highlights. My top 10 list is based on rarity of the ticket and overall value. Alright, so without further ado, let's get right down to it. Here we go.
Two for the Eagles, Keith Millard out with a bad knee, Bubby Brister with a sprained ankle, and Mike Sherrard went out with a bruised hip, we are told, but he probably will be back. O'Brien is down. Mike Strahan, a top draft pick this year who's been out with an injury since the first preseason game.
And he celebrates his very first NFL sack.
And you know what's nice? His dad is here from Germany, his father, Gene, who's never seen him play, college or pro.
In short yardage, you'll always get the first down in that situation.
Bill Parcells over on the sideline wearing the headset. His first game, regular season-wise, as a new head coach. On first down, Gooner will throw. Under pressure by Youngblood. Gooman lined up in the I formation. Barber moves. Gooman moves. Dickerson, the lone runner. Eric Dickerson straight ahead for 8. Dickerson, who had such a great college career, had a good preseason.
Okay.
They'll measure this one and see that they have to move the sticks. I don't believe it is.
I saw him in the lobby of the hotel yesterday, and in street clothes, he even looks like an all-star.
He really does.
He's a lot taller than I thought. He's 6'3".
Yeah. I was at a couple of banquets with him during the off-season. That Dick Bass, the great Ram runner, was talking to us before, saying he looks like a star, as you said.
Carries himself like one.
Carries the ball like one.
And I'll tell you, he got a lot of money. He was the second player taken in the NFL draft, but he'll earn it this year.
Yeah, they planned a busy year for him. Big things. We'll have to figure out at the end of the year how much he gets per carry.
Dickerson right, Dickerson left, Dickerson up the middle.
He would practice against the Andy Robustellis, the Dick Moduleskis, the Rosey Greers. These were all great players, and every day he would go against them. So he developed his skills, which he really didn't have when he was at Morgan State. He came in, and he was just this unbelievable specimen who learned to play the game when he got up to the Giants because of all these great players he practiced against.
In 1953, at only 20 years of age, Rosey Brown became one of the first players ever drafted by the NFL from a historically black college. He would join New York star defensive back Emlyn Tunnell as one of the first African Americans to ever suit up for Big Blue. But with segregation still a harsh reality in the U.S., the young Giants would have to persevere through challenging times.
Rosey Brown used to tell me stories about, when they used to go on the road. A lot of the hotels would not let African Americans in there, and my dad had to kind of step up and say, well, then you're not letting any of us in because we're not staying.
So Wells said, if you don't want them, you don't want us. Rosey said he turned back around, got back on the plane, and came back to New Jersey. And Rosey said that all the players were like, wow. Wells was a good man. You guys don't know. He was a fantastic person.
As a rookie in 1953, Rosey would also benefit from the tutelage of another Giants legend, longtime head coach Steve Owen. As a former offensive lineman himself, Owen took Brown under his wing, mentoring the young tackle. In Owen's final season as head coach, he helped Rosey catch on quick to the pro game, and soon Brown's versatility would be utilized on all sides of the ball.
He got a lot of renown for being he was actually a three-way player. You know, at the time there wasn't anything known as special teams, but they called it the third platoon because it wasn't really specialized yet. And he used to play on the kickoff coverage, and he would be like the first guy down the field, busting the wedge, making tackles. And he was, you know, a physical freak where he was 270, 275 pounds, and he had these broad shoulders, but he only had a 29-inch waist. So he had a lot of maneuverability, he was athletic, he was agile, and he was fast.
Hang time, 4.1 seconds. There's Phil Simms. Get ready. Reggie Mathis led the Saint tackler. Nothing still. Number 11, Phil Simms, is finally the Giant quarterback. 6'2.5", 216 pounds. That could be the future. Number 11, Ray Perkins, the head coach, looks on. The first play is a handoff to Doug Coder, and successfully done, but down goes that penalty marker again.
Tough spot for a quarterback's first indoctrination into this league is on the 5-yard line, and less now than that. He doesn't look like he's 6'2.5", does he? But those little league pads he's got on are, of course, those other people are large.
He looks like he should be just out of junior high. Or maybe that's because we're looking back a little bit further than we used to.
Offensive holding, number 68, still first down.
J.T. Turner having a little problem.
Ray Perkins on the right, Phil Simms on the left. Simms with the perfect physique and physical ability that the quarterback requires. Now, hands off to Ken Johnson for nothing. Maybe one.
And New Orleans came out on that flex defense like Dallas runs it, and it's extremely hard to run against because they've covered all the gaps.
Phil Simms applauding what's going on. The first look that Giant fans have had at the #1 draft choice of this year.
Reports said that Giant training this past week with Simms throwing well and picking it up so quickly were the best they've had around there in a long time. Everybody was clapping and moving a little bit. He might be the answer.
And perhaps now. The first passing attempt in the NFL for Phil Simms. And here it is. Deflected.
Watch this throw. The young man from Morehead State is 6 out of 11 before this one. Make it 7 of 12. A real rifle, splitting the zone, the up and the deep man.
Simms has Taylor and Johnson behind him. Drops. Touchdown, Johnson. Out of the backfield comes Ken Johnson. The Saints were in a blitz, and they got burned.
What a read by Simms. He sees that safety blitz coming to his left. He knew exactly who to go for. And all week at practice, Perkins could not believe how quickly he was picking up things. Look at the left. He sees it coming. Where's my man? You gamble. Either keep the backs in the block or put them out there and hit them early. This time, touchdown, Giants.
Now Eli Manning, time for him to make his NFL debut. And you know what? If he's going to hand it off every time and get this result, you'll see a lot more of him. Tiki Barber, 72 yards. Gone. 31-17. Good handoff, Eli. Then Manning steps up, and Jerome McDougal. Oh, boy. The Giants pick up the ball. Whoa, this is the NFL, it's not the SEC. Oh, boy, McDougal, #1 pick a year ago, nails him.
Definitely confidence in their rookie quarterback, Randall Cunningham. Speaking of rookies, Reggie White came out of the USFL, played collegiately at the University of Tennessee, where they said there was nobody around there could block him. He's in to rush the passer. Sing has time. White in there. We talked about him. Just signed with the Eagles last week. Active for the first time this week. Took 2 months off after the season. Mary Kendall said, I hope he's been doing some running because he's going to be doing some playing. Weighs now over 290 pounds. 6'5". And he is going to be an outstanding player if he is already. Down to the spread. Eagles on a blitz. Sims is down. Clark. Reggie White together. Third down, 4 at the 39. Sims on the draw play. Nothing doing. Reggie White all over it from the beginning. That was a special play. Yeah, but they didn't work against Reggie White. But if he's over the center starts to block to the left. The guard's coming down, and White just flips it and gets in the backfield. That's not a bad start for a guy playing his first NFL game. I don't think that play will be special anymore. No, especially not when Reggie White's in there. He doesn't know to read all those things. He hasn't seen what they've done before. Here's Landetta. Sims is down. Reggie White. Just acquired, and he's a player. I'll tell you, he was on a stun on this thing. The end starts to the inside. He goes to the outside. See, 91 comes to the outside. Greg Brown's coming from the other side, and Reggie White gets him right around the ankle. I'll tell you, he's going to be, of course, if he can play this well the first time he plays, we can go around mid-season. He'll really be going.
I'll put on some arm pads and be a blocker for a while.
Well, it's 1st and 10 on the Giant 26-yard line. And Jaworski intercepted by Terry Jackson. He's at the 15, 20, 25, 30-yard line. Intended receiver was Harold Carmichael.
That was one of those things. Yeah, watch Lawrence Taylor here, right here, number 56. He takes on the tight end. See, it's away from the ball. He's working him. Says, throw him down. You go to the ground. I want to go find the ball. I tell you, he's not only fast and quick, but he's strong. Did you see the strength that he handled that tight end?
The second. Meanwhile, it's 3rd and 7 on the 15-yard line, and the Giant fans have come alive. Out of the shotgun is Jaworski. Montgomery, and dragged out of bounds by Lawrence Taylor, but not before he picked up the clutch first down. A pretty good fake by Jaworski before giving the ball to Montgomery.
It was, and he had it. See, now here's a shotgun. He starts 5 yards. He drops back another 7, ends up 12. So he has plenty of room to see. Montgomery was on a little loop to the outside. He knew where he had to go to get the first down. I think he may have hurt his groin again on that last play.
2nd and 8 on the 45-yard line. Kenny is playing left tackle. And here comes Montgomery. Dragged down by the rookie, Lawrence Taylor. Got him from behind.
They're going to try Lawrence Taylor and see what he's made of, but I don't think they'll be doing this very much in the season. They're trying to give the rookie, watch his catch-up speed. Montgomery had a couple steps on him, and he was able to take 1, 2 large steps, and he was right at the sideline with him. That's going to be an outstanding player.
1st and 10 on the 37-yard line for Philadelphia. They're leading 7-3. Spagnola. Upended at the 42-yard line. He was hit by Lawrence Taylor and Larry Flowers. And a ball, apparently the fans thinking about that loose ball.
No, watch the pursuit on this. Watch Lawrence Taylor here, their first round pick, number 56. He starts back and pass. He sees it's a screen. Now watch him come across the field. This is the one thing that he can do, rookie or no. He can really run, dodge, makes a hit. Now, the rule here, the reason that's not a fumble is that the ground cannot cause a fumble. The ball came out not as a result of the hit, but as the result of hitting the ground.
So it is 2nd and 4 on the Eagle 43. They've moved.
go wild.
Every play was full bore with him. Every play he went full out.
Sam Huff was a coal miner's son from West Virginia. He was drafted by New York in 1956 as a defensive lineman. But when assistant coach Tom Landry installed the revolutionary 4-3 defense, he made Huff its anchor at middle linebacker.
As long as I played football, I always played from what you call a three-point stance. You're always down. You always saw one person. And all of a sudden, Tom Landry says, why don't you try middle linebacker? And I'm standing up. Now I can see everything. It was such a beautiful thing for me. It was like I was born to play it.
Quarterbacks find Red Dog and Sam Huff the toughest in the league. Huff knifes through and forces Lou Carpenter to fumble.
And here comes the ball carrier, all by himself. And he's got to try to beat you. Good luck.
He wiggles past Janelle, but Huff spins him down on the Giants' 6-yard line.
In the spotlight of the world's media capital, the New York Defenders became heroes, and Huff was their leading man in the new glamorous era of defensive football. He was a sought-after spokesman for advertisers. He was featured on the cover of Time magazine. And he was even the star in a gritty CBS documentary.
The New York Giants' number 16 was the leading man of pro football's most glamorous franchise. But success for this superstar was never easy. And his journey to the Hall of Fame in 1977 amazed even him. So when the Giants made him their number 1 pick, that media spotlight was a little too bright for his new teammates.
We had a bunch of Southerners who were playing, a bunch of military guys who had come out of the war, and these are guys who had shot and killed people. And here I come in, and I was the number 1 draft pick, and I was married to a beauty queen, and on the cover of all these magazines, and yeah, they didn't like me at all. But I set out really to win the respect of the guys I cared about. And I think one of the proudest things I am about my career in pro football was gaining the respect of the players.
Gifford earned the respect of his teammates by performing as one of the game's most complete players.
The number 1 draft pick intercepts Strahan. And watch him go for 55 yards.
In his 12 seasons, Gifford went to the Pro Bowl 7 times at 3 different positions: defensive back, halfback, and wide receiver. Working with Vince Lombardi, the Giants' offensive coach, Gifford harnessed his versatility to perfect the halfback option.
Gifford leaps and crossfires a touchdown pass to Bob Schnauker.
It was a play that would help him earn league MVP in 1956 as he led the team to the NFL championship. But in 1960, Gifford's career hit a wall when the Eagles' Chuck Bednarik knocked him out of the game, and people questioned if he would ever return.
It was a nightmare for me because I really honestly felt I just had kind of given up on myself. And it boiled down to whether or not I think they were going to keep me. And I'd never been in that situation in my life. But, you know, it was sort of like, look, you've never given up on anything before. I don't give up on this. And I didn't.
A year later, in 1962, Gifford was named Comeback Player of the Year, and with the team won 2 consecutive conference titles before his final game.
I have one of my favorite pictures, White Tittle and me, and we both knew it was our last game. And I distinctly remember White saying to me, I'm really going to miss this. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, I'm going to miss this too. There is such a feeling of togetherness, whether you win or whether you lose. I mean, it's just hard to imagine how many people go through life have never known that. Total focus on a purpose. And that's what I love about the game that's been so good to me. It brings out the best in people.
My vision of Gino is flying around the end, shirt tail flying, jumping over a fallen body that he just threw, and the quarterback's eyes getting about that big. That's my picture of Gino. If you look at film on him, he's always flying around the end. I mean, he's not bull rushing very much, although he could. He was quick, he had great athleticism, and he'd shed you. He would just throw you.
Here's a fine close-up look at number 89. Watch him as he moves one way, and now pops back into the hole to stop Detroit fullback Petrosati dead in his tracks.
The NFL's first great defensive end was unleashed. Marchetti used his knowledge as a blocker and became unblockable.
Here he comes from the left against Green Bay. And does he pulverize Bart Stubs?
You know, unfortunately, we can't support his career by statistics. They didn't even keep sacks, not even come close to keeping sacks.
I've been asked the most sacks I've had in one game. I know I've had 9. It's a great feeling because it was a challenge to me, one-on-one. Feel like, man, I got him. I got him.
Gino the Giant unloads on quarterback Jim Minowski for a safety and 2 points.
Brown ran for this 58-yard score against the Giants, adding to his career-high 17-touchdown season. In 1963, Brown picked up his career-long 80-yard rush for a touchdown against the Redskins. In this year, Brown rushed for 1,863 yards, a career high. Not only did Brown collect his longest career rushing touchdown that day, he also grabbed his longest career receiving touchdown. He caught this 83-yard pass from quarterback Frank Ryan to help beat the Washington Redskins 37-14. And for what is arguably Brown's greatest play, he caught this pass from quarterback Milt Plum in 1961 and ran 77 yards for a touchdown.
Jim Brown coming to the 40, 45, 50. Jim Brown down the sideline. Jim Brown is going for the score.
The reception was the longest for the season for the Browns and a perfect illustration of the power and finesse that Jim Brown brought to the game of football.